We take you back to that conversation as we re-establish our connection with political analyst Professor Dirk Kotze, as the ANC's Stanley Mathabatha says he's stepping aside from his role in the party over alleged irregular processes followed in the Vhembe and Waterberg regional conferences. Professor Kotze, thank you so much for staying with us. I mean, just before we got cut off there, we were talking about Mathabatha's long stay in politics. I mean, it's been decades, and also just really trying to get a sense of why only now, conveniently, after stepping down from government, is he finding his moral compass and citing misconduct, a lack of values in the ANC?
Yes, good evening. I think one has to go back a little bit in terms of his political history, and that is that at the last national conference of the ANC 2 years ago, he stood actually against the candidates of President Ramaphosa. He was in the group that was supported Vhembe as the presidential candidate, and he then stood against Vhembe and Waterberg as the national chairperson of the ANC. So in that sense, is not sort of in the mainstream of the Ramaphosa group. At the same time, he has been quite also prominent in the Communist Party, in the Central Committee. And I think what we are seeing now in the advance towards the local government election next year, that there is going to be contestation of which of the different groups are going to take really the lead within Limpopo. I must say Limpopo as a province last year with the provincial election did for the ANC the best of all the provinces, about 72% majority for the ANC, which is quite outstanding compared to the other provinces, even around or neighboring to Limpopo. So his leadership per se is not necessarily the problem in terms of the ANC's performance, but I think it's the internal dynamics within the province. And remember, the province is a very diverse province. From the northern part, which is the Vhembe district, which is part of the old Venda, to the other parts in Limpopo. And I think that diverse dynamics within the province plays a very important role in this particular situation.
I mean, as you speak about that outstanding performance in Limpopo and Mathabatha leading that, what does it mean for the ANC come election time? Because looking at the impact and the repercussions which will follow from this move.
Well, I think the ANC as a party is not necessarily going to be directly confronted by, for example, let's say the MK party. They want to move into Limpopo as a province. Now we see Floyd Shivambu with his Mayabuya movement clearly will also focus on Limpopo as a province. But I think for the foreseeable future, let's say the next 2, 3, 4 years, the ANC will still be possibly the dominant party in Limpopo. There's no other party that really is emerging as a major challenge to the ANC. What we will see in some parts of the province is more of a fragmentation. In some of the provinces, we have already at local level coalition governments or hung parliaments. And that most possibly will continue. But I think the process of decline of the ANC, like in other parts of the province, will be less visible next year in Limpopo province.
I mean, is it correct to believe that Mathabatha's resignation is merely about principle, or should one interpret it as a strategic move to distance himself from what may be a sinking ship ahead of the 2026 elections? I mean, you speak about the strength of the ANC in the province, but still doesn't explain what the strategy could be behind Mathabatha's move.
Yes, I think that is the question that all of us are asking, is what exactly is his strategy? I mean, I mentioned earlier on that he stood as a candidate for the top 6 of the ANC. I don't think one should rule that out. That is, will in 2027 possibly stand again for position. However, the fact that he has resigned or is now moving out, as it looks like, from his position as the provincial leader, might be and have a negative impact on such aspirations for him. But I think that is certainly something that we can't throw away as an option, and that will possibly play a role in the step that he's taking it now.
In standing for the top six, I mean, just looking at the quality of leadership and his chances, what would you make of that?
Well, I think the fact that he has been very successful in Limpopo. I mean, this is his third term as the provincial leader of the ANC in Limpopo. It's relatively exceptional compared to the other provincial leaders in the different provinces. So he can claim that he has been relatively successful. Yes, there have been these internal dynamics in the province that we are talking about, but from the outside perspective, he definitely provided a sort of a consolidated view of the ANC. And as I said, yes, last year with the provincial elections, they produced the goods for that. And I think on the basis of that, he will be able to claim that he was one of the more successful provincial leaders of the ANC.
Very well. Thank you so much for speaking to us this evening. Political analyst Professor Dirk Kotze, helping us make sense and unpack the move there by the ANC's Stan Mathabatha, who has said that he's stepping aside from his role in the ANC, citing irregular processes followed by the Vhembe and Waterberg regional conferences.